Well, hello there. Long time no see. Yeah, I thought it was about time I started doing YouTube stuff again. So for those of you who are new to this part of the wide web, my name is Zoe. I go by the nickname Zosie. If you venture on YouTube quite a lot and you like theatre stuff, you might have seen me over on Aaron James' channel. We are best mates. I met him at uni. He used to live in my building in my first year, and we moved in on the same day, and we've been like that ever since. But yeah, I thought it was about time that I ripped the plaster off and faced my fear of YouTube videos. I'm always so much less awkward when I'm with someone else. So this is just me trying something new. Hopefully it will get less awkward as we go on and I won't waffle quite so much. Yeah, it's just something new to do. I wanted today's video to focus on anxiety. I am a very anxious person. Always have been, and I don't know where it's come from, so I don't know what's going on. This was a really good idea until I sat down and started talking, but I'm going to carry on and we're going to see how this goes. So I wanted this to focus on tips to cope with anxiety at home, and these are just things that have helped me. It might not necessarily be your thing. If not, that is totally fine. Different things work for different people. So for me, I am a very spiritual person. I practice Buddhism, I meditate, I do yoga. When I'm stressed, just meditate the crap out of it. Just, yes. Either that or I'll sulk for the whole day and then I'll sort myself out. So yeah, let's get this show on the road. I nearly said road on the show, that would not have been good. Tip number 1, books. I have a love-hate relationship with reading. That's all I'm going to say. I had a love-hate relationship with reading until about a couple of summers ago. We were on holiday, I wanted something new to do, so I picked up the biggest book I could find. Of all books to choose, I chose this one. It took me a long time to read this. I'm a very slow reader. I'm also one of those readers that has to read a line more than once because I've stopped paying attention halfway through, and that is just the best. Stephen King's your man. I have a lot of self-help books. A lot. And as I said previously, I'm quite a spiritual person. So a lot of my books are focusing on how mindfulness can be really helpful, and just it's fascinating because it goes into how your brain works and how the anxious brain works. And as fascinating as that is, sometimes it gets a bit repetitive. Like, yes, I know my brain is just the result of some sort of evolutionary thing that's not needed now but was needed back then, and it's just yeah. But I recently stumbled across a rather fabulous book. It was given to me as a Secret Santa gift. My lovely supervisor, she was my Secret Santa person, gift giver person. She gave me a really, really, really thoughtful gift, as well as a Funko Pop, but we don't need to talk about that. I have to say, I've never felt so seen and so understood by a single book in my whole life. It's this one. It's called How to Survive the End of the World When It's in Your Own Head. There are plenty of books out there on how to survive a zombie apocalypse, all-out nuclear war, or Armageddon. But what happens when it feels like the world is ending every single time you wake up? That's what having anxiety is like, and How to Survive the End of the World When It's in Your Own Head is here to help, or at least make you realise you are not so alone. I'm only just halfway through it. This book is a big old mood. It's written by a comedian. I can't pronounce his last name because I'm a dingbat and I didn't do this before I made the video. This is the book, and I really, really, really strongly recommend it to people who are kind of a bit tired of reading self-help books that just talk about meditation, yoga, exercise, how the brain works, which is like every self-help book ever. This one is just talking about how an anxious person lives, basically, and it's just so friggin' funny. It covers various areas of how anxiety affects a person. It just talks about it in general, then it talks about your relationships with other people, and just how awful it is. Which sounds awful, but actually when you just gotta read the damn thing. Just reading it helps me feel better. It has a small amount of advice without sounding patronising or hippie, I guess. Tip 2. You guys are gonna love me for this, but exercise. Everyone's favourite tip. Exercise. I friggin' hate exercise. I would much rather stay in bed and eat crisps and watch murder documentaries on Netflix. When you say exercise, you immediately think of running. I tried running once and it did not work. I took my dog with me. He enjoyed it more than I did. But when I talk about exercises, I mean things you can do without leaving the house. Breathing exercises. Stuff you can do wherever. I used these techniques when I did my driving theory. I get really anxious under exam conditions. I put an enormous amount of pressure on myself to get it right the first time round. Thankfully I passed. But these are just exercises to do when things feel like they're starting to get a bit too overwhelming for you. Your head's going a million miles an hour, everything's going into slow motion, and you just want the ground to open up and swallow you whole. I had a moment like that at work. Working in retail at Christmas as an anxious person feels like you're running a marathon. I learnt these really cool breathing techniques at my yoga class. That's right, I do yoga. Yoga does not have to be a serious thing at all. Not everyone is as bendy as the people you see on Instagram. The reality is, hamstrings say no. And we have this one exercise that's called like alternative breathing. And what you do is you get your right hand and you make sort of that shape. Put your thumb over one nostril and you leave the other nostril free. And you breathe in as deep as you can. Hold your nose closed. I sound hilarious. Hold it for 8 seconds, or 8 counts rather, and then release with the other one. Breathe out through your other nostril, and then you breathe in, hold 8 counts, and then release. You have no idea how helpful that has been. You have no idea how many times I've forgotten to breathe when I'm anxious. I learnt that in my yoga class. It's so simple, but so effective. Also, if you don't like the feeling of holding your nose and holding your breath for 8 counts, and you feel like just holding that is going to make you panic, just normal breathing techniques will help. We also do this thing called having full yogic breaths as well. We do a bit of the alternative breathing nostril thing, but also we do normal yogic breaths, and it's important that even after you've done the alternative breathing technique, you do a few normal ones as well. And that's just breathing in, expanding your tummy, then your chest, and then exhaling with your chest and your tummy, and just letting it go. Another exercise I do is bounce. Bounce is my absolute favourite. I look forward to it every week. I've been doing it about a year now, and I just love it so much. My instructor is so lovely, and she's so enthusiastic, but in a way that's not intimidating. And she gives such good advice as well. If there's a particular exercise you struggle with, she gives you an alternative to use. You don't feel judged by the other people in the group either, because we're all there for similar reasons. For the majority of the time we don't actually talk to each other because we're all busy dying on a trampoline. It started off being me and my 2 friends from school. We just joined for a laugh. It sounded hilarious. We're all as clumsy as each other. So for those of you who don't know what bounce is a high intensity training workout thing. So we do mostly cardio work, and then we do a bit of toning. And then we do some relaxation at the end just to relax your muscles and help them recover. Because when you first do it, good lordy lord, you're going to need a bath afterwards. My whole body hurt But that was because I'd not exercised since like PE at school. I left school like 5 or 6 years ago now. And I also find that even if I'm in a really bad mood and I don't want to go, I make myself go anyway. And even then, I'm so focused on what I'm doing, it just really helps me get my motivation back. Getting a little bit of exercise can just help. Like, it doesn't have to be going to the gym, it doesn't have to be swimming or hiking or yoga. You can just like walk up and down the stairs a few times, just get the blood flowing, and sometimes that's just enough. Number 3, hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies. I almost have too much time on my hands. So my main hobbies that I've been trying to turn into a career, it's not going well because it's creative, and the creative industry is not, it's difficult. So when I have a lot of things on my mind, my go-to thing is to draw. You don't have to be good at it, you can just draw scribbles and colour them in. You don't have to be the next, like, Leonardo da Vinci. Almost said DiCaprio, but sometimes just having a good old doodle just helps you sort of switch the outside world off for a little bit. Helps me unwind at the end of the day, which is very difficult to do when you're an anxious person. I've done a bit of work as a photographer. Photography is it's a really good thing. Like, you don't have to be good at it. You don't have to have expensive equipment to be good at it. If you like something, take a picture of it. Go outside, take pictures of birds, plants, the sky, I don't know, UFOs even. It's just good to focus on the thing that you're doing in that moment. My favourite thing to do is to just take pictures of birds. Bird watching is also a good pastime thing. What? I don't know the word. You will be surprised at how entertaining bird watching can actually be. They are characteristic little buggers. You can just sit at your window and just watch the outside world for a bit. Anything arty is a great way to just fill in the time and switch off. I've also got dog walking, cuddling dogs, dog memes, and basically just get a dog. I guess that's basically everything I wanted to talk about. I highly recommend that if you are just in a constant state of anxiety and discomfort or distress or feeling isolated, talking to your doctor will be the best thing you can do for yourself. It is so hard to do it though. It's so hard to ask for help, and it's hard to even admit to yourself that you need someone else's help. And sometimes you just need someone to listen to you, or a family member, or even like a chat room online. I know Childline have an online chat room where you're both anonymous. I think it's for 16s and under 16s only though, I can't remember. Actually, just talking to someone else freely without the fear of being judged helped enormously. If you're at that point where you feel like going to a doctor might help but you're too scared, or you feel like you might waste their time, I can assure you, you are not wasting their time. But also, it's going to be okay. I'm not going to judge you. They are not going to talk about you, because it's important that you remember that it's strictly confidential. If you want to talk to your family members about what you discussed, that is totally fine. Making a vlog was something that I've wanted to do for a long time, but the anxiety has never let me do it. I feel like I'm extremely awkward. My voice is just, I don't know, the hell is that? But that happens, and having anxiety it's just difficult to switch it off. But yeah, so I've reached the end of my list, my prompts list. Even for making a video for the first time and being anxious about it, I made a list. I hope this video was sort of helpful. Even if it was just a tiny bit helpful, then that's good enough for me. What did I press? for going to the doctor. I would highly